Welcome to the Cognitive Edge, where we examine the ideas, systems, and decisions shaping education, libraries, technology, and the future of learning. I'm your host, Dr. Daniel Sabol, and today I want to discuss teacher and librarian burnout and really what sustainable workload practices should actually look like. Um, Burnout is often treated as a personal problem. It is, you know, teachers and librarians, they're told to manage their time better. They're practice self care, take breaks, use mindfulness, and learn how to leave work at work. Those suggestions, they may help around the edges, but they do not solve the real problem. Burnout is often caused by systems that continue adding responsibilities without removing anything. Teachers, they really are expected to plan lessons, to grade assignments, communicate with families, attend meetings, manage behavior, enter data, learn new technology, support students emotionally, and also respond to new initiatives. But librarians are expected to teach, collaborate, manage collections, support research, troubleshoot, troubleshoot technology, promote literacy, supervise spaces, assist faculty, manage databases, plan programs, report statistics, and also at the same time defend the value of the library. In many schools, the librarian is also treated as the unofficial technology department, testing coordinator, website manager, substitute teacher, event organizer, and emergency problem solver. Everyone brings their problems to the library because the librarian is expected to know how to fix it. That's flattering for about 5 minutes, then it becomes an all around paid department. So, what does burnout really look like? Burnout, it does not always look dramatic. Um, it often begins very quietly. A teacher, you'll see, stop volunteering for committee work. Um, a librarian stops proposing new programs. Someone who once felt excited about lesson planning or collection development really begins doing only what is necessary to get through the day. Educators may become emotionally exhausted, frustrated, detached, or unable to concentrate. They may start questioning whether their work still matters. Burnout can also appear as withdrawal. A teacher who once stayed after school to help students may begin leaving immediately. A librarian who once created innovative displays and programs may stop because there is no time, there's no funding, there's no administrative support. This does not mean they've stopped caring. It means the caring has become exhausting. It's probably the best way to put it. Burnout and burned out educators, they're often not lazy or uncommitted at all. Most, and all, I want to say, are really highly dedicated professionals who've become or who have been carrying unreasonable expectations for far, far too long. So, the real problem with constant resilience, schools and libraries frequently praise people for being resilient. Resilience is valuable, but it can become an excuse for poor working conditions. When an organization really depends on employees constantly overcoming staff shortages, excessive paperwork, limited funding, behavioral challenges, outdated systems, and expanding job descriptions, resilience becomes another burden. Teachers and librarians should not have to prove their dedication really by sacrificing their health, their evenings, weekends, and even family time. We need to stop asking, how can educators become tougher? We should ask, why has the workload become so unreasonable that people must be tough every day just to survive it? Workload is really more than a list of tasks when you come down to the nitty gritty of it. Workload is not only about the number of responsibilities, it's also about the cognitive and emotional weight of those responsibilities. A teacher may spend 10 minutes writing an email, but the message itself may involve sensitive student information or an issue that requires careful thought. A librarian may spend 20 minutes helping someone with research, but that interaction may happen while answering the phone, supervising students, troubleshooting a printer, and preparing for the next class. Really, the constant switching between roles really creates this cognitive overload. Teachers move from instructor to counselor to mediator to evaluator to technology troubleshooter and to family contact. Librarians move from researcher to teacher to archivist to cataloger to technology specialist, program coordinator, and customer service representative. The work is not simply busy, it's fragmented, really. The fragmentation is draining and it's taking away attention and makes it difficult to complete meaningful work. So, I'm going to talk about some sustainable practices, and this is the first one. Protect planning and preparation time. Teachers really need uninterrupted time to plan lessons, assess student work, and prepare materials. Librarians need uninterrupted time for collection development, cataloging, research preparation, technology management, and program planning. Preparation time should not be treated as empty space on a schedule. It is part of the job. When that time is repeatedly taken for meetings, for coverage, supervision, or last minute requests, the work moves into evenings and weekends. Schools and library leaders must protect professional preparation time. Without it, quality declines and then burnout starts to increase. And I've seen this personally and had this happen myself where I would come home and just hit the couch and pass right out. Um, so my second practice or idea is to stop adding without removing. So organizations frequently introduce new programs, software platforms, reporting requirements, assessments, committees, and initiatives. The problem is that old responsibilities rarely disappear. Even new initiatives become another layer. When leadership introduces something new, it should also be identified what will be reduced. simplified, or discontinued. A new literacy program should not be added on top of five older programs. A new database should not be implemented with outdated systems remaining mandatory. A new reporting requirement should replace something, not just simply join the pile. Improvement requires subtraction. Otherwise, innovation really becomes accumulation. Sustainable practice number 3, reduce unnecessary meetings. Not every issue requires a meeting. Some meetings can just be a simple email. Some emails can be shared documents. Some discussions can involve 3 people instead of the entire staff. Before scheduling a meeting, leaders should really ask themselves, does everyone need to attend? That's a big one. Is there a decision that must be made right away, or is it something pending that's imminent? Could the information be communicated another way? Meetings should have a clear purpose, a written agenda, and an ending time. A meeting without a clear outcome is not collaboration. It's workload wearing a name tag. Sustainable practice 4 is to basically clarify roles. Teachers and librarians often assigned responsibilities that extend far beyond their official positions. A teacher becomes the unpaid technology coordinator. A librarian becomes the full substitute, device manager, testing assistant, social media manager, and event planner. Helping colleagues is part of a collaborative workplace that is completely understood. But permanent role expansion without time, staffing, authority, or compensation is just basically exploitation disguised under the word teamwork. Leaders should clearly define responsibilities. When additional duties are assigned, staff members should receive time, resources, training, or compensation. Being capable does not mean being infinitely available. And that is so true. So true. So sustainable practice 5 is to create communication boundaries. Teachers and librarians should not be expected to respond to messages at all hours. Families, administrators, faculty members, and community members should understand appropriate response times. An evening message should not be created an expectation of immediately being replied back. A weekend email should not become a Sunday assignment. Digital communications has really made educators constantly reachable, but reachable should not mean permanently on duty. Professionalism does not require 24-hour availability. Healthy boundaries protect both employees and the quality of their work. With that, we jump into sustainable practice 6, which is simplifying documentation. Documents have value when it supports decisions. It becomes harmful when employees repeatedly enter the same information into multiple systems or produce reports nobody meaningfully uses. Teachers may spend hours recording data instead of using it to improve instruction. Librarians may spend hours compiling circulation statistics, program counts, usage reports, and annual summaries that receive little attention. Sometimes none. It's just thrown in the garbage. Organizations should regularly review forms, reports, surveys, and data requests. Ask, who uses this information? I mean, really, who's going to use it? What decision does it support? Is the same information available elsewhere? Could the process be automated or shortened, maybe? Data should support the work. Really, that's the ultimate goal. The work should not exist merely to feed the data system. You see this a lot with our state when they require data, but then it goes nowhere. It happens, I guess. So, sustainable practice 7, respect for professional expertise. Micromanagement increases burnout quickly. Teachers and librarians are trained professionals. They need room to make informed decisions. Teachers should have flexibility in how they design instruction. Librarians should have authority over collection development, research support, programming, and information services. Professional standards and accountability matter. They truly do. But constant monitoring, scripted practices, and approval requirements communicate a lack of trust or distrust. People are more motivated when they have meaningful ownership over their work. Autonomy is not the absence of accountability, it's the presence of professional trust. Sustainable practice 8 is to really make collaboration useful. Collaboration should reduce workload. Teachers can share lessons, assessments, and resources. They shouldn't have to have a book by the door with lessons filled every single day. That is just asking too much, in my opinion. Librarians can support curriculum development, research instruction, digital citizenship, and resource selection. But collaboration must be given time. Telling teachers and librarians to collaborate without providing shared planning time creates another expectation without support. True collaboration is not an extra meeting after school. It is a structured part of a person's workday. When collaboration is designed properly, it reduces duplication and it actually strengthens instruction. When it's designed poorly, it just becomes another task added to their already long list of to dos. Sustainable practice number 9 is to really recognize emotional labor. Teachers and librarians perform significant emotional labor. Teachers support students dealing with stress, trauma, conflict, academic struggles, and family challenges. Librarians help students, faculty members, community members who may be anxious, frustrated, confused, isolated, or just in crisis. All professions, they really require patience, calmness, and the ability to be empathetic. That emotional work is often invisible. Employees may handle a difficult interaction and then immediately move to the next class, patron, meeting, or task as though nothing happened. Organizations must acknowledge this emotional load. Staff members need supportive leadership, opportunities to debrief, access to assistance, and a culture in which asking for help is not treated as weakness. Sustainable practice 10. Include employees in decisions. Burnout increases when decisions are made without the people who must carry them out. So I'm going to say that again. Burnout increases when decisions are made without the people who must carry them out. Teachers know which initiatives create unnecessary work. Librarians know which systems are outdated, which resources are underused, and which services are most needed. Their input should be gathered before changes are finalized. Listening after a decision has already been made that has already been made is not really participation. It's notification. And leadership does not mean agreeing with every suggestion. I get that. It means respecting the knowledge of the people closest to the work. What individuals can do. Burnout is largely structural, but individuals can still protect themselves. Teachers and librarians can establish communication boundaries, which I know that sometimes that could be daunting because nobody wants to say no to their principal or to an administrator. They can reuse strong materials rather than constantly rebuilding everything. They can collaborate and share resources. They can distinguish between work that must be excellent and work that simply needs to just be completed. They can say no to responsibilities that do not fit their role or available time. They can also speak honestly about their workload. And they should be able to sit with an administrator to discuss these difficult workloads. Silence often protects the system, not the employee. There is no award for being the person who quietly absorbs every new responsibility. Eventually, the most dependable people become the most overloaded ones. So, really, leaders should not wait until talented employees resign before admitting there's a problem. I mean, they should really be paying attention and having their finger on the pulse and be paying attention when experienced educators become disengaged. They should listen when people say they do not have enough time. They should conduct regular workload reviews and simply ask what tasks take the most time? What responsibilities create the most stress? I mean, what work provides the least educational or community value? What can be stopped? Sustainable leadership is not about getting the maximum amount of work from people. It's about creating conditions in which people can continue doing meaningful work well without interruption, disruption, or having to carry an entire workload plus some on their back. Teachers and librarian burnout is not a personal failure by any means. It's often a warning that the system is asking too much and has been asking that for way too long. Self care has value but cannot repair an unhealthy workload. A breathing exercise will not eliminate unnecessary meetings. A mindful app will not reduce paperwork. A motivational speech will not create additional planning time. Real change requires leaders to examine workload, staffing expectations, communications, autonomy, and professional respect. Teachers and librarians do some of the most important work in our schools and our community, and that shows. We need to thank these people. They help people learn, to think, to read, to question, to research, and to grow. But they cannot continue doing that work effectively if the system treats exhaustion as normal. The goal should not be to help educators tolerate unsustainable conditions. The goal should be to change those conditions. Hopefully, I was able to make some remarks that could possibly help. Thank you for joining me on the Cognitive Edge. I am Dr. Daniel Sabol, and I look forward to continuing the conversation about how we can create stronger, healthier, and more sustainable schools and libraries. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.